Ford CEO Jim Farley finally heard the common man and decided to go against dealers. He just issued a brutal warning to all dealers, leaving the entire industry in disbelief. You might have seen Ford pickups with heavy markups as high as $100,000, but now all that is about to change. Ford is going to steal a page from Tesla's book and introduce an all-new agency sales model, leaving all the dealers behind. But how is this going to work? And what implications could it have for us, the buyers? And why are Ford dealers killing the very brand that they work for? The short answer is greed. You see, Ford pickups are in heavy demand, and ever since the launch of more affordable models like the Maverick, people are flocking dealerships to buy these trucks. But here's where Ford made the biggest mistake. CEO Jim Farley thought that people will continue to buy their trucks at high prices, even if that price is a massive $10,000 or $20,000 more than the MSRP. The CEO even misled the public in a meeting with Cox Automotive, saying that only 10% of the dealers in America are charging these so-called markups. But we've now realized the customer is not ready to pay how much we expected. However, no one told you about the real story. Nobody wants to buy these overpriced pickups anymore. More than 90,000 pickups now lay unsold in dealer lots due to huge dealer markups and scams, thereby killing the brand and even forcing Ford to sell EVs at a loss. Yes, folks, you heard that right. Ford is losing nearly $3,600 on each EV being sold, and will reportedly lose around $3.5 billion in this year alone. More on that later. If the issue of dealer markups is not fixed, then the day is not far where we might see Ford close its doors. But thankfully, it all came crashing for the greedy dealers when Jim Farley issued his latest brutal warning: stop your crazy markups, else you will have nothing to sell anymore. These were the exact words of the new CEO, who thinks that Ford can still make a comeback and be profitable in their business by the next year. In last year's Q4 earnings report, Farley told all investors how dealer markups were damaging the company's relationships with customers and could potentially harm the introduction of electric vehicles like the F-150 Lightning. This comment came in the wake of reports of dealers charging excessive premiums on vehicles, particularly the F-150 Lightning, with one dealership reported to have added a $30,000 markup above the MSRP. I'm also going to tell you about a crowdsourced website which was put in place by buyers like you so that you can avoid dealer markups on the next car you're going to buy. Andrew Frick, Ford's head of sales, sent letters to dealers earlier that year, cautioning them that they could lose their allocations of the F-150 Lightning if they attempted to charge reservation holders additional fees. Want to know something even more shocking? Customers have to pay a whopping $3.6 billion in the name of dealer markups, a number which is literally half of Ford's revenue in 2022. Ford's response? They're rewriting the playbook on car sales, unveiling a secret weapon in the form of a new business model that's set to flip the auto industry on its head. This isn't just a minor adjustment. This is a full-on revolution that's threatening to make traditional dealerships a thing of the past. Here's the scoop. Ford is spearheading the charge with an innovative agency model. This radical approach is going to streamline the buying process, removing the infuriating extras and fees dealers love to tack on. So now, Ford will be having these experience centers in place of old dealerships where you can go to physically see the vehicle, but this whole experience ends there. Now, let's say you like any car. Then all you need to do is go to their online website and order the variant that you want without any extra markups. Now, you might be thinking all this is due to inflation, correct? Big no. An eye-opening report by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, they revealed how these price markups are being widely used by dealers to drive up the price of cars instead. When the pandemic hit, it threw supply and demand out of whack. Dealers had less inventory to produce halts, and consumers, flush with stimulus money, were ready to buy. This imbalance gave dealers the upper hand to charge more, leading to higher profit margins, from 4.9% in 2019 to 11.5% in 2022. Before COVID-19, dealers were squeezed between high manufacturer prices and consumer price sensitivity, often resorting to selling finance and insurance products to maintain profits. Post-pandemic, with supply constraints and heightened demand for physical goods, dealers found themselves in a position to hike up prices and increase their margins substantially. To put it in perspective, from 2019 to 2022, while consumer prices for new vehicles grew by 20.7%, the price dealers paid to manufacturers only grew by 7.9%. But the markups, the difference between what the dealers sell the cars for and what they pay for them, went up by 144.7%. Under Jim Farley's leadership, Ford is navigating a future where fair pricing is the norm, not just a lofty deal. But Ford's not an isolated case. GM is also facing massive trouble for markups. And with GM, it's not just the dealers who are greedy, but the CEO too. Mary Barra took home a salary of $29 million while her company is in financial ruin. Something I covered in my last video, so be sure to check my channel for that. Now, markups are quite common at GM too. GM has taken steps similar to Ford's by sending letters to dealers warning against unethical sales prices and threatening to reroute allocations of popular models if markups continue. Examples of steep markups include a C8 Corvette Stingray listed at nearly $100,000 over the sticker price, and Cadillac Escalade models being marked up to $15,000 to $30,000. More recently, Chevrolet dealers have been charging up to $10,000 over MSRP for the 2024 Chevy Blazer EV. GM's warnings have been clear, emphasizing the need for ethical sales practices and maintaining a positive customer experience. While some dealers have adhered to the warning, the continued presence of significant markups on high-demand vehicles indicates that the problem is not fully resolved. Now, I have a website for you called Markups.org, which essentially acts as a tracker to document and expose dealers who are inflating prices unreasonably. It began with a focus on Toyota 4Runners and Tundras, and has since expanded to cover a wide range of vehicles. The site's development from Google Docs to a full-fledged platform with web crawlers scraping data has made it a robust source for buyers who are trying to avoid overpaying. This tracker empowers consumers to make informed decisions and encourages fair pricing in the marketplace. For someone not interested in a Tesla, which is often suggested as an alternative due to its direct sales model that avoids traditional dealer markups, Markups.org becomes an indispensable tool. As we become more aware, automakers are also landing heavy fines on dealers who want to charge a lot. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel after all. Ford has now issued several penalties and also brought a customer reservation system for new models to help manage pricing and allocations. They've also explored penalties for dealers who sell vehicles over the MSRP, which can include reallocating future vehicle inventories away from offending dealerships. As for General Motors, they've also followed Ford and launched an online sales platform to provide more transparency and control over the final price customers pay, aiming to reduce the likelihood of dealer markups. Toyota has taken a slightly different approach by monitoring dealership behavior and issuing warnings to those that impose excessive markups. The company has a policy that allows them to take action against dealers who engage in practices that could damage Toyota's reputation. While these efforts show automakers' intentions to keep prices fair, it's important to note that dealers are independent businesses, and manufacturer control over retail pricing is limited by law. The only plausible solution for now seems that we as buyers shift to an online business model instead of solely relying on dealerships and dealers. If you look at Tesla's website, you'll see how their pricing model is highly transparent, which also empowers good buyer confidence and strong sales, something legacy car makers are struggling to achieve with their EVs. With Ford now taking strict steps towards dealers and more penalties imposed, the car market is headed towards a good direction. Do you think ending dealerships altogether is a good idea? Comment down below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this video.